let's get started with this thing. So the first thing we need to do is actually create our folder, which we're going to go ahead and do inside our projects folder in itself. So let's go ahead and call it forum. Created the virtual environment. Let's actually source. Let's go ahead and do env/scripts/activate. And while we activated our source, let's do pip install Django, because that's what we're going to be using to create this forum web application. And the first thing we need to do here is to plan out some stuff. And the first thing is we're going to, so the thing that we're going to need to create is a user model. The user model is going to go ahead and inherit from our abstract user class that is going to already be created by Django. And we're going to have to make emails unique. So emails unique, so that you can only create an account using a single email with a unique email. So you can't have multiple accounts with the same email. Username should be case insensitive. So you can't. So the same user can only have one username. So you can't have two Spimys in a single because two different Spimys because of different letter casing. The next thing is going to be avatar, and we're also going to contain the. We're also going to have the description of the user. I might be forgetting some things. Inherit abstract user emails. I think that's it. And the rest is going to be handled by the abstract user that's created by Django already, so we don't have to worry too much about that. The next thing we actually need is the category, which is going to be containing the title of the category, and that's it. And we're also going to have a unique key, which is going to be the ID, the primary key. But we don't have to worry about that because, again, Django already automatically generates that. So when we do that, let's go ahead and do pip install pillow as well, because pillow is something that's going to be needed if we are going to be coding, we're going to adding avatar and images. So the next thing we need to do is add the thread. The thread is going to contain the title of the thread, and we're going to have to contain the description of the thread. When I say description here, I actually mean biography, because normally probably will be the status of the user, but let's go ahead and keep it biography because we don't have that much time. So okay, then we have the title, the description, we're going to have the author, and we're going to have to know what category it's linked to, and we're also going to contain the date published, or the date published, and date edited. And we're also going to have comments, so comments is going to be containing the description, and we're going to contain the author, and we're also going to contain the date created, the thread that it's supposed to be in, and we're also going to go ahead and have these two, so we know that they were edited and published. So now that we have our plan, let's actually see if everything's going smooth. Let's open our code editor inside. Okay, well, so now let's do a Django admin. Let's go ahead and start project. Let's call it forum app. Simply call it forum. And then while that is being created, which is real quick, let's go ahead and do cd. And then cd into our forum. So now let's go ahead and copy this over to, actually we can just do cd forum. Let's actually go ahead and go to our source env here. And since it's one folder up, since it's one folder out, we have to do this. And let's, I didn't mean to do this. Let's actually remove this to clear both sides. And the first thing we need to do is, okay, so now that we have both of them inside, we'll just open our code editor. I don't know, code. Let's open our Visual Studio Code. And what we're going to do is, because we already have, I already have a project for, what's it called, for accounts. I'm just going to go and copy that over, and I'm just going to go ahead and reuse that because, dry, don't repeat yourself. So we're going to go ahead and create an apps folder real quick, if we can. Let's hope for, there we go. Let's go to our apps folder. Let's go ahead and paste in our accounts app. Let's go over to Visual Studio Code, which actually opened a lot faster than I initially thought it would. So let's actually, we need to actually change a few things. The first thing is we don't need to touch the manage.py. We can just go ahead and close that out. The first thing is settings.py. The first thing we need to do is actually install our apps.accounts. That's the first thing we need to do. I can't actually save right now, which is a bit of a problem. Or rather, I can't actually hit neo enter through. Let's do nano, because not being able to go to a new line is actually kind of annoying. So nano, just do nano our forum and then slash settings.py. This will allow us to edit some stuff on our terminal. So the first thing we need to do is actually go all the way down here in our installed apps, and the first thing we need to actually add is our apps.accounts. Okay. If only this thing can actually work like I want it to. Let's actually save this real quick. And the next thing we need to do is actually have a few things called all the way at the bottom. So first, let's actually log in. The login URL is actually going to be linked to our accounts, and the accounts is going to be a login. I think we also need a success login URL. So let's add that in, login URL, which is going to be a success. Let's just take them. Technically, we need to take them to the home page. So we don't actually have anything yet. So let's just save it as that for now. Let's actually have a static root, which is going to be our technically our base dir, I believe, and then our static, and then static. And then we need to have a static files underscore dir, which is going to contain an array or a tuple, whichever, of items that where our thing is at. So where our static files are going to hold save. So we're going to have it in base dir. We're going to have it in our forum, and then we're going to have it inside of our what's it called? So our forum, and then static, obviously. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's go ahead and go all the way up, and where we say our directory for templates. Here we're going to have to do the same thing, but for templates. So base dir, and then we're going to do a forum, and then slash. Actually, this is supposed to be a string, forum, and then slash our templates. Okay. Just making sure that it's actually based dir and not something else. Okay, we should be good now. I don't think we have anything else we need to do here. Yeah, I think we should be good. Actually, we need to handle media files as well. So let's do media URL. Media URL is going to be media, and then we're going to have a media root, which is going to be our base underscore directory, and then our media files right here. Okay, so this should be it. Let's go into here now. At this point in time, I should be able to save. Let's don't save it here. It's already created. So everything has been added in perfectly. Let's go ahead and go to our... over to our applications now. We have our migrations. That should be fine. We don't need to make migrations. The first thing we need to do is actually go to our models. And you can see I've already got some stuff created. We don't need this role here, but so we can just remove that completely. Okay, the first thing is actually need to actually set up the Python inside the correct Python environment. So let's start from env. Let's use the correct Python environment. And the role does not exist anymore, so we can actually just go ahead and remove this and replace this with our biography. So let's call it biography, and this would be a actual text field, which we can go ahead and replace. Don't need a related name. Can it be maybe blank? No, it's just going to be a text field. I am not entirely sure why it says that it's an unresolved import, because technically it should it should be here, and there shouldn't be any problem because I am using the I've already installed Django. So that's pretty much the user model, and we should be able to go to our views and check real quick if I have this. Actually, just open our mixins, and it's actually success login URL. That's perfect. Views, let's see. Views should be okay. We have our home page right here, which means if we're successfully logged in and stuff, registered, we will be taken to home page, which we don't have yet. So that's the only problem we have. Other than that, I think that's everything. We can actually run migrations now. Let's actually go do pymanage.py and then run let's just make migrations just to make sure everything is correct. So let's make the migrations. So cannot import roles.role.models. There's a few things that we need to actually get rid of. I think the first thing is in forms. No, in our views. I'm not entirely sure. Let's check our views. Views. Did we ever import our role? I don't think actually. Alright, our admin here. So our admin has a role section here, which we'll completely remove. And we also don't need to have this anymore. And we definitely don't need to save role. And role has never been created, so we don't need to make use of that. Let's go ahead and do pip install pep8, auto pep8 as well, because stuffs are happening. Okay, so this should be it. Now let's actually run make migrations again and see what happens. Let's go ahead and copy this and paste this over to here and have this open. Okay, let's see what the error is now. User auth admin. The user model is already registered. Okay, that means we need to actually set the user in our settings, which I completely forgot to do. Let's open our settings.py. I think auth user model should be accounts dot and then our user. I believe that is it. So our models, so it's just simply user. Let's actually see if this works now. Okay, okay. So the media URL must end with a slash. So that's a different error. So there we go. Completely forgot to do this. And let's do make migrations again. There's one more thing I need to do in URLs, which is to actually go over to our Django static file, Django static file, and managing static files, deploying static file. No, I think it's managing. I think it's that. We need to find the URLs that we need to actually do copy, which is this right here. Let's copy that. Let's just paste this in. And let's go ahead and get the imports from both of this, and let's go ahead and paste these right in. So these are the static URLs. Let's actually also add path, and let's do an empty path, which is going to include. We need to go ahead and include. I think it's in here anyways. Include and our apps.accounts/.urls, and let's add that in. Okay, the value field set fields must be a list or tuple, which is a problem. Where is this coming from? From custom user admin, from admin. So from custom user admin, so admin.py, must be a tuple, right? Because this right there. Okay, make migrations. Is auto pep8 still installed? I never press enter. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so non-nullable biography. This does not exist yet, does it? Let's quit this real quick. Oh, that's because I already have some migration files, which shouldn't be the case. So let's actually go ahead and delete these migrations, and let's go ahead and make migrations. We should be fine after this. We have auto pep8 already installed. That means we should use auto pep8. I don't know what it's on about. I already have it installed. Okay. So we created the user model. Let's actually do pymanage.py, and then we can just run migrate, and this will migrate everything into the database. And while we're doing that, let's do okay. Never mind. Okay, pymanage.py. We're going to create super user, and just create our username, and then our email. And then a very, very unique password 123, because it's definitely not a problem. Okay, so the first thing that I've noticed is the models, which means I can just override this entire save function right here. We no longer need that. Just completely forgot to do. Let's actually go ahead and create our super user once again. And then spawn, okay, that user already exists. So if we go over to our manage.py, let's go to our pymanage.py and let's do run server. Let's run the server. Let's go over to localhost 8000, and we can do /admin. And let's do and do let's log in. So see if we are able to log in. Now sometimes this, for some reason, does not think I'm logged in, even though like that I have to refresh the page to make it think that I logged in. And if I go here, there we go, I have everything I need. I have the avatar. The only thing that we don't have is biography, which is something that we should be adding into here. So let's quickly biography. So let's go ahead and do that. And once we reload, we should see biography down here. Let's actually set a default biography, right? Let's say that this user has no biography set or something. Like, no, you know what? No, well, let's just leave it as is. And next, we need to actually start our app. So we actually need to start a new app called a forum app. I'm gonna call it forum app just because I don't want it to clash with the actual forum itself. So let's actually drag and drop forum app inside forum, of apps, and then we need to go inside, not here. Let's go inside, let's go ahead and actually create a file called urls.py, which we'll make use of in a bit. For now, we can just do that. Now, let's make sure that the URLs is actually working. So let's actually go to login, and we should actually see our, yeah, right, okay, so the URL is working, we just don't have a base URL yet. So let's go and create our base, our templates. Actually, you know what? Let's actually, since we already have an app, again, I've already said, let's just go and copy stuff because over in the end, what we're going to be doing is going to have to do the same thing over and over again. That is, let me just find our app. Forum, and then paste it right here. So basically, the reason why everything is going to be the same is because, like, if we override our styles, we're going to be doing the same thing. I'm basically going to be doing the same thing, so there's like virtually no point. So the first things first, I don't think we're going to have paginations, but let's just keep it here for now anyways. It doesn't really matter. So let's have our pagination there. So our urls.py, we can actually go ahead and give it an app name for now. This is going to be called the forum app. So let's do forum. I'm also going to have a URL patterns, which is going to be empty for now. We're going to add to this in a later bit. So the first thing to do is actually to create our models. So let's do class. I'm going to create our, the first thing we have is the category, which is going to import from models.model. And then we're going to have our title of the category, which is going to be a models.car field, and we're not going to have that. So we're going to have a max length of 50 characters. That seems about right. I don't think anyone needs a very long category name. In fact, 50 is pretty long on its own, so let's just leave it as is. The next thing we need to do is to create a thread. The thread is going to be a models.model. Actually, let's go and have a class meta in here. So the verbose name plural, and we're going to name it categories just to look nice. And we're going to have a def of a dunder string, and then this is going to return the title. Okay, so the thread is going to contain the title, as I've already mentioned. So we need to do car fields. Let's actually go ahead and remove this real quick. We don't really need that. Let's go ahead to 255, the longest possible. And then we have the description. So let's actually have a description, which is going to be a models.text field. I'm just going to go and copy that. And the next thing is going to be the author, which is actually going to be the auth model. So actually Django.db.models. I'm not entirely sure how to import that. Django, actually, we can actually check that over at our own models here, which we imported. So I think it's in here. Yeah, contrib.auth. So we can go ahead and do that. So our author is actually simply a one-to-one field with our user model. We don't really need a verbose name. And on delete, we just cascade. So we can just delete the author. We can just, if the author has been deleted, we'll just delete the thread as well. Well, technically we should need to do this, but I'm gonna keep it simple and just delete the thread when the user or the author has been deleted. And of course we need to know the category that this is in. So let's actually have a one-to-one relationship as well. We don't need these, and just do category. Come all the way back here, just remove that. Again, if the category has been deleted, it's kind of obvious the thread will be deleted. And then we need to publish date. I'm going to call it a models.date field. We should probably have a date time field so we know the time as well, but it's fine. The auto now is going to be true because that is going to be true. And auto add now, which should be, no, this is actually false, and this is actually going to be true. Let's go ahead and paste this over here, and I'm going to have to change some stuff. which is edited date. We're going to have a date field. This is going to be true, and this is going to be false. Auto now add is basically when it's actually added. Auto now is when the user has edited or done anything to the model. So I think that's about everything. Date published category, yep, that should be everything. Let's actually do it done to string. The string is actually going to return the title of our app. And then the next thing we need to do is the class meta, which we don't actually need because thread is threads. So the next thing we actually need is our comments, because we need comments. So let's do models.model. Let's actually do our title. No, we don't need the title. We just need the description of the comments. So the description is going to be, let's just go ahead and copy and paste this in here. Cut. The next thing we need to do is we need to know about is the author. So let's have a one-to-one relationship with the author, because there's that. And we also need to know what thread that it was in. So let's actually go ahead and copy and paste this in as well. Let's go ahead and take thread and replace these with a thread. I spelled category wrong. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. So that's that's pretty much it. We also need this, so we can just go and copy and paste these right in. So I think that should be it. Let's actually have our string method done to string. We're gonna return author.username. Let's concatenate this inside of an f string. So let's do that. So usernames comment on. Okay, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this. Let's just say self the author's comment on thread.title. On thread. Let's do this, and voila. Okay. This is just so that I know what I'm working with. So this should be it. The author is a one-to-one relationship with the thread. Because the author can create a single. No, actually, no. It has to be a foreign key. It cannot be. I assume that I spelled foreign key right, because it's going to be a one-to-many relationship, because an author can have many threads, but the thread can only have one. And this should technically also be. Many threads can be in single category, so it's going to be a foreign key as well. We just can't handle one-to-many relationships. And I'm also going to just put foreign key everywhere, so just to ensure everything works properly as intended. Don't really have the brain power to really think that much right now. Okay, so we actually have an error. Not entirely sure what. Oh, it's just the template does not exist. Which should be fine now, that I added the template. There we go. Some very, very nice styling. Yeah, okay, so we do have an issue of not being able to load our CSS. Our CSS is just not being rendered properly. Let's go over to our settings.py. Not sure, okay, how long has it been? It's been 24 minutes. We don't have a lot of time left. Cancel user. Let me see real quick. Base of forum, base dir forum templates should have been, everything should be fine actually. Let's go over to, okay, I'm gonna have to go to a done project and just see if I can just see what I did. If I drag all the way down, the static URL should be fine. Base dir static. Oh right, I messed these two up. No, actually no. The base dir static, and then forum static. Yep, everything here should be technically correct. And our media URL, I handled that in a different folder. That's fine. And then we have our templates that's getting loaded properly. Actually, I think I should just need to hard reload this. No. Okay, this is a little bit of a problem because I'm not sure why we are having this problem. So the base directory, and then we'll get to the forum, which will then lead to the static. Did I spell static dirs wrong? Yep, I spelled static dirs wrong. That's really dumb of me. Okay, we should be fine now. There we go. That was static durs with an S. Okay, noted. Okay, so now that we've got all these done, no, I didn't really spend too much time styling. I just had some basic stuff going on. Haven't really styled that thing yet. Okay, this should be good now that we can go ahead and do py-manage.py. Let's make the migrations, and let's also migrate to the database. Manage.py migrate. There's no migrations because the app has not been installed. Let's actually go to our settings real quick. Go down here and do apps.form app. And then we also probably should add it to our URLs. So let's do path and let's just do an empty thing for now. Include apps.formapp.urls, and that should be it. Let's go over to our URLs here. Let's actually add a path. We should probably import that. So from Django.urls import path, and we'll do a path. Actually, we don't need to do that yet because I don't actually have any views created. So let's do make migrations and see what happens. Okay, right, string errors. Okay, let's go to our models. So def string def. Okay, right, def. Make migrations. Okay, we have a EOL scanning with string literal. I'm not entirely sure what that is. So let's see, dash s. I have an extra thing there. Should be okay now. Let's make the migrations. And let's just migrate. Now let's actually create our forms because forms.py, and we're going to need to import from Django.forms. We need to import a model form and model form, and we're going to create a model form, which is going to be our category. Actually, let's do thread form. Let's actually go to our admin. Then admin.site.register, which we're going to need to do from .models import our literally import, which we can just do import everything. This is not really a good practice, but at a time like this, we don't really have much choice. So the first thing we need to do is category. Let's paste this 4 more times. The first thing we need, and then the next thing is a thread, and then also the comments. And let's go back to our models. Comment, thread, there's only 3, we don't need the 4th one. So let's, oh no, okay. With that said, we should be good to go now. The model aggregator is already registered in form app. Not entirely sure what's going on here. Let's go to our admin real quick. So localhost 8000/admin. Let's log in. We should be already logged in. Here we go. We see everything we need to right here. Let's create a category. Let's go ahead and call it I don't know, casual. And let's create the category. And this is because we need to create our thread at some point. So let's go back to our home and let's go in here. Let's go to our forms. The thread we're gonna go ahead and do from .models. We're gonna import our. Let's do from import forms then, because we're importing from that. From the models, we need to import our thread form, and field is going to be a dunder all. This will include every single field possible. Now let's go to our views. Let's actually remove everything, and we'll do from Django.views.generic. We're going to import our create. I'm going to import a create view, and we're going to create view. This is going to contain thread create view. And we're going to have a from.models .forms import thread create form, thread form actually, And since this is a create view, this should also take in a form, which should just be thread form. Don't need the model. And as for the double quotes, I'm going to remove that and actually create a folder inside of our, see here, let's do templates. Inside of templates, we're just going to contain our our format. And let's go inside of format. Let's actually create our thread create.html. Let's just call it that. And let's do format / thread underscore create.html. We're running low on time. We are running low on time. I don't know how long I can keep up with this. Alright, so now we also have success URL, which by default should take us to somewhere that we know. We need to actually get this from self.object. We should be able to do self.object. So let's do success get success URL, which will inherit self, and we're going to do return reverse lazy. I think this is from Django.urls import reverse lazy. I'm not entirely sure actually. I need to check that. Let's Google that real quick. Django reverse lazy. We can actually go ahead and see this right here in the utility function. Let's see, reverse. We can import this from. What can we? How do we import this? What's the import? Django.urls.inverse. We should be able to get this from the same place. Yeah, we should be fine. Actually, we should be using reverse here because we're not doing that outside. So reverse. I'm gonna have a different URL, which I'm gonna create in a bit. The URL is going to be our format, and it's going to take us to. We're gonna have quarks. That's gonna take in some keyword arguments. And we're going to have we're going to take it to the thread, form thread. So the name of the URL is going to be thread. The quarks is going to be the thread itself, the thread slug, which we don't actually have. So I'm going to just do slug ID, which I completely forgot to do, but that's fine. Which we're going to do self.objects.id. Now this, in theory, should work. I'm not entirely sure myself. If this doesn't work, then I don't need to Google some stuff. And now let's do path, the /create, create thread rather. Let's do /create thread, and the views is going to be, let's do from.views import. Not sure what I called it. For a thread create view. And then we'll do .as underscore view, and then give it the name of create thread. Let's go ahead and paste this in. Let's do what did I name it? Let's go thread. It's just simply called thread. And we'll just take in the URL of. This is going to take a slug of. It's going to take an ID called ID. I think this is how you do URL patterns. I'm not entirely sure. Let's do URL and go URL path patterns. No, URL path slug. I'm not entirely sure how you do this. Use slugs in Django URL. Let's take a look. Where's the URLs? That's all I need to look. That's all I need to look. Just give me the URLs. Okay, slug, the slug. ID, it's just going to be the ID. I'm guessing that should be it. I hope that's all I have to do. And let's see, invalid. Okay, views, I forgot to add a comma. let's see. We have a uses valid converter ID. Is it PK? If it's PK, then it's just have to be PK. URL ID uses invalid converter ID. Let's just restart the server and see what happens. Okay. Use ID in Django URL. I'm not entirely sure how you do that anymore. I don't think I've actually done this, except for using Slug itself. I should be able to use user ID. Does that mean I can just do pass URL object ID in Django URL? Let's see. Post.id. Okay, everyone's just using the old way of doing this. I'm just gonna use PK and see what happens. Or is it just ID? Okay, it seems to work. So let's go over to our Python app. Let's go over to our create thread. We should be able to create the thread. Create thread. / create. Okay, right. It's not actually that. It's actually meant to be this. This, reload, create. Okay, missing query set. Oh, we actually need a model. I never thought I'd had to do that for some reason. So let's do create. So the model is actually going to be our thread model. Let's go ahead and from .models import our thread model. And refresh this. Create field does not. Without the fields attribute is prohibited. Okay, I have no idea what I'm doing. So apparently I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and see Django projects. Okay, apps, accounts. Let's open our views and see what I'm doing wrong. So there's a create view, our form class. It's a form class that I need. It's not just simply form. Does that mean we can remove that now? Yes, we can remove that now. Okay, fantastic. It's actually form class and not form. Now let's just extend our main and then our base.html. And we should be able to load static as well. Okay, and then we need to do is create something called, and then we need to do a block of content, which will contain all of our content. We also need a block of title, which will allow us to create, just say the title, so create thread. Let's go over to our base.html, which I just remember to do something. Our base.html. We need to actually change this title from this over to form, simply because I completely don't remember what, not really remember, I don't really know what to put there. Okay, so we now have the forum. I think we can just do over fields, Django form HTML. Working with forms, let's go ahead and do this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, where is it? Should be able to just use form. Don't really need an action, really. Let's just take this. Actually, just take this out completely. It don't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Let's see what happens. Okay, fantastic. You can actually create a form now. Let's say test form. Let's say test thread. Let's do thread. I can't spell thread description. The author is going to be Spimy, and the category is just going to be casual because there's only one. Let's submit it. Thread preview has no objects. Self.object. Let's continue. Create thread format is not a registered namespace. URLs, it's just forum. Continue. Let's see. Okay, reverse thread for ID. I got PK. Try to get PK. ID not found. At this point, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so thread /3. Just /3. Okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, honestly. Okay, that's right. Okay, so thread, we need to import detail view. So detail view, and we can do a detail view. We're going to be thread detail view. And we're going to go ahead and do, let's go over to our form app, create a thread detail.html. And then inside of here, we're just going to go ahead and take in the thread. So let's do forum app /thread detail.html. And this is it. I should be able to do objects. I should be I think if I extend the main and base.html. And let's go ahead and come over here and just copy and paste a bunch of stuff. I have an extra brackets. Okay, so this should be, I should be able to do object.title to get the title of the object. Let's do block content, and then let's come inside of here. Let's also put in object.author.username. Just make sure and make sure everything is working like it's intended to work. Let's also go to the URLs and actually take thread detail view, which we should also import up here. Let's refresh. Okay, so you can see the Spimy and the test thread is actually created. Okay, that's that's perfect. Now we can actually just go ahead and do a few things. So a few things that I did forget to do is this right here, URLs. No, our views. We are actually having ID, so this should be ID and not thread ID. Actually, PK. We're passing in PK as the thing. Let's actually do thread here. Let's do threads/PK because it makes more sense that way. So let's do a create thread. Test thread 4 at this point, but let's say thread stuff. Just spam some stuff. Let's go to the author. The category is going to be usual. Now, the author is something that should be excluded because that should be added automatically. And there we go. We're taken automatically to that thread. Okay, so we're going to have to specify the author ourselves for now, which technically shouldn't be able to do because the author should be yourself. When we submit, we should already have our author, right? So let's go back up here. Let's actually inspect our element for ID. No, that's not it. That's the select. That's the name. So we have to just take this box right here and have just basically add an input, right? We'll just exclude. Let's go to our forms if we can. Our forms, we just need to do exclude. It's going to take in a triple, but I'm going to use a list because that's fine as well. Let's go ahead and do author. Now let's go ahead and save that. Let's refresh. Author is gone. And we can go ahead and go to the here. Let's go to our input. We should add an input with a type of, text. Sure. Is this a type of text? Yes. The name and the max length are all in here, so that's fine. So let's do our name is going to be you know what? This is going to take a little bit of time, so I'm just going to leave it there. So you have to select the author that created the thread. Otherwise, I will have a little bit of problem otherwise. So for now, let's just do it like that. So you should be able to access this if you're not logged in. So let's actually go to our here, create view. Let's actually have a login required mixin Google that real quick. Login required mixin Django. Login required mixin from Django.contrib.auth.mixins. And we just need to do this. We don't need to specify extra stuff because this in theory should already be said and done. So if this should technically take me to, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's take it to itself. So now if I go to our create site, if I create thread here, and first, a login create view is not defined. Login create view is not defined. What do you mean by that? Oh, right. Okay, that's a problem. Let's remove the R. Let's do this. Do that. Login create view is not defined. Login create view. Okay, right. Because it's create view. Okay, now if we load here, we can. But let's log out. And then try here. It asks me to log in, so let's try to log in. We should be able to log in using an email as well because I have a backend set up. And then let's do password 123, and we should be able to log into our forum, which apparently the username and password is invalid. Okay. Did I really type in my password wrong? Or okay, you know what? I probably registered using a wrong email, but anyways, there we go. We should be fine now. Okay, let me just take a look at my user. Did I use the wrong email? It doesn't seem like it. Let's log out. Let's try again. Because this is a bit concerning. Because this should work in theory. Okay. Okay, so oh, right. I'm not using the backend. I've not set the settings to use the backend. Which should technically do all the way down here. Which is authentication underscore backend equals to a tuple, which is going to do apps.accounts dot backend dot email or username backend. I think that's what I named it. I think that's what I named it, and I think that should be how it works as well. We can always take a look at here. Anyways, let's go to our settings, our base.api, backends, apps.backends, email user backend. Okay, I somehow managed to spell it almost correctly. I always forget that S. Now let's try a login again using our email because we want to make sure at least it's bug free for the most part. So there we go. That works now. Let's actually go back to our thread details, and what we need to start doing is actually create some kind of something that works. So okay, so I'm going to create a section with an ID of the thread. Yeah, let's just call it a thread. And the first thing it's going to contain, the thread is going to contain the comments. It's going to contain a form. We actually need the form view as well because we need to implement if the comments allow people to comment inside of this thread. Okay, there's so much to do. Okay, so let's actually have an h1, which is going to contain the object.title, and we're going to have a paragraph which is going to contain the object description. We're not gonna worry about the edited time, so let's just go ahead and put in an H. I don't know. Let's just have a paragraph here as well. Let's call this object.created date, or rather, this. I think this is published date. And let's go ahead and go to number 4, or thread/number 4. There we go. Published date, is it? What's our model? Okay, published dates. Right here. There we go. We have our publish date slapped right into it, which should be okay now. And this is pretty much it. Let's actually have a form real quick. Let's have a form. Form Django form mixin. A form Django form mixin initials. Let's see what happens here. Detail view form mixin. How do I import form mixin? Oh god damn it. Form mixin Django. Form mixin. I can copy this. Go over here. Code's really messy. Detail view. This here says form mixin. We should be able to add in a form, which goes to our forms. Let's create a class. Let's go ahead and do a model form. The class, the model is going to be comment. Let's actually import that in. The thing is going to be all, and this should be a string. This should be double underscore. Okay. That should be everything. Let's actually, right. Let's go over to our views. We need to do form underscore class. We need to do our form class. Let's go to our forms comment form. Let's import that in as well. The next thing here. Models here. Nope, not here. And let's do the comments as well, because now we're gonna need to handle that in a bit. But let's say comment form should be okay. Come on, okay. Django.views invalid syntax. Import from Django.views the generic.edit form .edit import for mixin. Okay, so technically now if we go to our, just go take this form down here, we can go ahead and just paste it outside, and there we go. We can now have our comment. Well, this is description, it's technically comment. We can change that if we want to, but not now. Not bothered. But yeah, we have our form. We can choose our thread, the thread number 4, which is this thread. Obviously, this won't be here. It should automatically know what thread it's going to. But for now, as everything works, it should work like that. Okay. Technically, we also should handle the form invalid, but we're not going to worry too much about that. So we're going to do def form valid. I believe it's so self needs to be passed. Let's take form class based views form valid. Let's take a look. Form valid would take in the form as well, self and form. And we just want to save the form. So yeah, we'll just save the form, and yeah, we should be fine. We'll just return create, and then we'll do return super, and then we'll do dot form underscore valid, and then we're gonna pass in the form. And then we should be fine. And the success URL is just going to be itself. Success URL, it should be itself, just here, without moving anywhere. So let's try and do this. Okay, the page is not working. Method not allowed. Threads for a post. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. SRF tokens. Spimy. Thread 4 submit. Okay, we are having an error. That is a method not allowed post. Okay, detail view and form post. form valids, form new comment. Okay, we'll just do this. We'll just do this. New comment, form.save, commit false, self.get object. Okay, whatever that is. Let's just go ahead and just get things working. Okay. Context form equals self blah blah blah, and this context form equals to self.get form. Wherever do you do that? Get context data. Context object name, context form. I am really lost. Self.get form inside of I'm guessing our get context here, which we'll just go ahead and copy and paste in here, and we'll just go ahead and take context form and just go ahead and paste this in here. Don't need this, and article view is just simply itself. Remove that completely, and we should be okay. And now if we do back to our threads here, let's go ahead and do that. Thread number 4, submit. I am getting a thread error where we're not allowed to create posts, which is not making me much sense. Okay, let's see. Detail view, my form view, blah blah blah. That's not really what I need. Getting a form in detail view. Detail view, post method not allowed. Not allowed. We are running out of time. Okay, so we have, if you want to edit update view, just update view. It might make sense to use update view instead. So let's actually use update view instead of using detail view. So now if we go over to our forum, hopefully everything should be fine. Cannot consist. Is it because update view is already a thing there? Okay, let's do that and see what happens. Okay, let's go ahead and do this and submit. And article view is not defined. Where's article view? Article view self. No. Do this. Okay, let's do that. No URL. Get absolute URLs. Do success URL to self. To the same page. Redirect same page. Success URL. Same page. Django. And return reverse chat your blah blah blah. Okay, let's okay, we'll just do this and just paste this in here and boom. Come on, submit. Thread 4, submit. Same page, please. Yes, it's the same page. Let's go down to here. I forgot to create. Let's go ahead and do a section for comments. I'm already out of time, and here we just need to do yeah. We just need to pass in some context as well. We just need to do comments. So we just do context of comments equals to comment.objects.all, and we can just loop through all the comments. So we do a for loop in here for comments in comments, and we need to do comment.description, and then we just do a by. This is fine. Comment.author.username, and there we go. It's not showing up. Oh no. context comments, blah blah blah, self-like form, super context, return context. Why is it not working? Comment on objects.all. We should technically have a comment somewhere, question mark. I don't know why it's not showing. We are out of time. It is not showing. Oh no. Why is the comments not showing? For comments, in comments, comment on author username. Why is the description not even showing? Did we not post anything? Oh, we're updating that. That's why. That's kind of wrong. That's not what we need. A little bit over the time limit, which is kind of unfortunate because I didn't manage to finish the forum app in time. But hey, this was a great learning experience. I mean, I probably can do better next time. I would keep trying to do things like this, to challenge myself to do things as quick as possible, because this was definitely a great challenge. I never thought I'd panic this much to try and do something. But anyways, as you can see, I got the comments working now. I spent just a few times just fixing stuff. So basically I removed the update view. I didn't need it anymore. I just put a form mixin, a detail view, and then I realized it's just that I forgot to handle the post request. So all I had to do was send the check post request to handle the post request, and that was the thing that was keeping it from not working. Now, I didn't know this. I actually had to Google this for a little while, which took about 2 minutes. But yeah, it was a learning experience. So now I know how I can add a view and a form together using class-based views. I actually never thought about not knowing how to do this. But yeah, now I know. And of course, there's also a form valid to handle the form valid. There's also going to be form invalid, which I haven't handled, but that's fine. And then the get success URL, and then passing the comments in as a context that will be rendered in right here, and that's what got it going here. Of course, of course, there's also the author and the thread that you have to specify manually, which shouldn't be the case, but you know, some corners had to be cut. I might have a rerun of this and see if I can do this faster from this experience and see if I can learn it. And I'm going to use this same plan. I don't need to rewrite as many stuff as I have to. I'm just going to copy as much as I can to make things faster. But then again, it's a learning experience. I enjoyed making this despite the amount of time, despite how panicked I was making this and how tired I am. But yeah, thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video.